Bet you didn't know, there's capitalism in Cuba. I'm Melanie Tucker, owner of Rare Finds Travel, and welcome back to our Conversations on Cuba. It's a 5-part video series that I created for you so you can have a little window into what it's like to travel to Cuba these days. Video 1 was all about legality. Yes, it's still legal to travel to Cuba in 2019, and I showed you how. Video 2 is all about the food because it's not anything like what you probably think. The food is delicious, and I gave you a lot of examples in video 2. If you want to check out either of those, head over to YouTube to our channel, Rare Finds Travel, and check them out. But this video is going to be all about capitalism because I want to introduce you to the entrepreneurs of Havana. Many people think because it's a communist country that how can there possibly be entrepreneurship? But you have never found so many tenacious, clever, hardworking people as you will in Havana. So let me tell you about some of them. Some locals run paladars. They are private restaurants. Sometimes they run them right out of their home, and sometimes they run them out of a rented space. A lot of locals run private lodging. This can either be what they call a casa particular, which is a more humble kind of setup, more comparable maybe to a homestay. And other locals run what they call casas, which are more like boutique hotels. And there you'll have staff, you'll have houseboys, you'll have a doorman, you'll have some meals served, and just the furnishings and the decor, everything is just a little bit nicer. Tile, original tile floors, antique chandeliers, balconies, really, really lovely. Locals often run their own businesses, like my friend Katia. She was my Casa Particular host on my very first trip to Cuba in 2016. And after I did the walk up to the 3rd floor to her home, you walk in and the whole place smelled of chocolate. She was running a bakery business out of her kitchen. She had this jacked out kitchen and she was running it around the clock to create items that, yes, she shared with us, and we always found them on our breakfast plates the next morning, but also she took them down to her. She had a little shop that was by Cathedral Square, and she would sell them there to the public. So that was her bakery business, run right out of her home. So locals run art galleries, they run dance studios, they run boxing gyms, and some of them even run tours. So our friend Jorge, he runs a food cultural biking tour, and it's 3 hours of pedaling around Havana. You go through Old Town and along the Malecon, which is the seafront, and into these little cafes where he actually gives you pesos, which is the local currency, where you can purchase whatever you want, all these little local dishes, and you sit down and share a snack together. You go to a cheese shop. You also go to a local market, and that's where he pulls out his ration card. Now, I had never seen a ration book before, but he explained to me how it works for an individual and how it works for a family, and how much food you get and how that all works, and I just found that fascinating. Some locals run their own transfer services, so you can get a meet and greet, they call it, at the airport, which is when the car meets you and the guide comes in and actually meets your plane at the airport holding a sign with your name on it, and that is a really nice comfort when you're coming into a new country and you're a little bit nervous. It's called a meet and greet. And then other locals, there's one guy who has this very ingenious business that he started with classic old cars. So he actually lets you look under the hood of this old car and then get in the driver's seat and actually take it for a drive. So I thought that was really clever. And there's another woman who has a unique tour all about the black market. We spent an entire Christmas morning walking with her and learning all about how they get avocados here and they get aspirin here and they get toilet paper there, and they put this all together, and it's something that if you traveled without her, you wouldn't see it. It's like invisible, but when you know where to look and you watch how she operates, you can really learn so much about the local economy and the local culture. And then some locals run actual philanthropic organizations, like a dance studio, where he charges for dance lessons to travelers, and he also charges for lodging. You can stay in a room there, and all of these proceeds he uses to subsidize lessons for the local kids and teenagers and young adults. So if you remember from our very first video, we talked about traveling to Cuba, you get a visa, and the reason you choose is in support of the Cuban people. So by going to Cuba and by hiring a local driver and a local guide and staying at a local casa and eating at a local paladar and hiring a local guide for unique experiences, all of these things will help you to travel in support of the Cuban people. So our next video is safety, because that is so important. And you might be surprised to know I traveled road trip by myself with another woman, but no guide, no local, all the way from Havana, all the way out to Santiago. And I'll tell you about it in our next video on safety. So stay tuned to Conversations on Cuba. It's Melanie Tucker, Rare Finds Travel. Thanks for following.